And we're back here at SunTrust Park for the Braves and the Blue Jays. Some interleague play for your Labor Day Monday. I'm Kevin McAlpin with 680 The Fan and the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Braves enter play tonight coming off a sweep over the Southsiders that wrapped up with a 5-3 win here yesterday. They are 30 games over 500. 84-54 is the record for the Braves entering play here today. The lead remains 5.5 over the Nationals, and things are really shaping up for quite a showdown here at the ballpark later on this week when the Braves take on the Nationals here for a 4-game series. Meanwhile, it's the Blue Jays rolling into town. These two teams split a brief 2-game series at Rogers Center to end the most recent road trip for the Braves. It was a 4-2 road trip. As I mentioned, 5-3 was your final yesterday. 9th series sweep of the season for the Braves. Their 28th series win on the year. That's one behind the Dodgers for the most in the National League here in 2019. Freddie Freeman doing the bulk, really doing all the damage yesterday. A pair of 2-run homers for Freddie in yesterday's contest. He drove in all 5 runs. Also added that RBI single late in the ballgame. It was his 16th career multi-homer game, 3rd this season for Freddie Freeman, and it gives him a Major League best 114 RBIs entering play here today. How about since July the 1st, a .470 average with runners in scoring position, and 13 of his homers on the year have come since August the 1st. And as Brian Snitker said after the game, when you put all of those numbers together, it's hard to argue that Freddie Freeman should not be the MVP here in the National League. I asked Freddie what that meant to him after the game, and yeah, he deflected. He said what's more important is we have 24 games left in the regular season and still a long way to go for the Braves to accomplish their goals here in 2019. But again, Bellinger and Yelich, they've been the prohibitive favorites for the NL MVP, but I think when you talk about most valuable players, take Freddie Freeman out of this lineup. What does this team look like? I think Freddie has certainly worked his way into that conversation. Top 2, top 3, we'll see how things play themselves out here over the next couple of weeks of the regular season. The offense has stolen the show over the last 4 games. 35 runs the Braves have put up over their last 4 games. But how about this pitching staff? Over their last 14 games, a collective 2.54 ERA for the Braves pitching staff. And that bullpen, the much maligned bullpen, a 2.35 ERA since the middle of August. The pitching staff really deserves a lot of credit for the Braves being able to weather a lot of these big-time injuries, losing 5 guys to the injured list in the span of 3 weeks. The pitchers have had to step up. They have done exactly that. You saw that on display in the most recent road trip when the Braves went 4-2 to New York, to Denver, and to Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, Mike Soroka, the 22-year-old native of Calgary, gets the ball and back-to-back starts against the Blue Jays here today. Soroka is 10-3 on the season, a 2.44 ERA this year. It's his 25th start of the season. He's coming off his first road loss of the year that came against the Blue Jays at Rogers Center on the most recent road trip. Despite giving up just 2 earned runs on 8 hits over 6 innings worth of work, Braves offense didn't give him any run support. He was a hard luck loser. He's still looking for his first win since July the 14th. Hard to believe Soroka has pitched as well as he has, but since July the 14th, he's 0-2 with 6 no decisions, despite posting a 281 earned run average over that span. So the Braves are going to look to get Soroka back in the win column today, get him win number 11 against the native Blue Jays. Certainly a guy who grew up watching a lot of Toronto games as a kid, pitched a lot of games with Baseball Canada at Rogers Center, making back-to-back starts against his native Blue Jays here today. Meanwhile, Jacob Waguespack gets the ball for the Blue Jays here today. 25-year-old right-hander out of Ole Miss is 4-2 with a 3.93 ERA in 11 appearances, 8 of which have been starts for the Jays here this season. Braves did see him on the most recent road trip, the finale of that series. He gave up 5 runs, 3 of which were earned over just 3 innings worth of work. Braves got him out of there early on. And again, that was a 9-4 win for the Braves in the finale of that road trip. And hopefully you can spend your Labor Day with us here on 680 The Fan and the Braves Radio Network. Jim Powell and Joe Simpson, they'll have all the action coming up today, 1:20 p.m. Eastern. So if you're headed to the pool, headed to a barbecue, make sure you take 680 The Fan with you or the Braves Radio Network. 1:20 p.m. Eastern, Braves and Jays. Day game today, night game tomorrow, and then a day off on Wednesday before the Braves welcome the Nationals to town. And speaking of the Nationals, they have to deal with the Mets in D.C. the next couple of days, and that'll be Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the New York Mets today. I believe Jacob deGrom gets the ball tomorrow for the Mets. So I know it's hard as a Braves fan to root for the Mets. Try the best you can here for the next couple of days. Hopefully the Braves can increase that lead here in the NL East. It is 5.5 entering play today, and they'll look to take care of business against the Blue Jays, 1:20 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fan and Braves Radio Network.